My assumption, and Rob Zombie, I guess he walked back to Haddonfield. Hello there, YouTube, and welcome to this month's Horror Talk with me, Horace. So, this month's Horror Talk discussion, I'm going in a different approach in this because I don't want this show to just be about, talking about horror movie franchises, like horror movies and then all their sequels. I want it to also be a discussion show on, horror icons like actors and writers and filmmakers and all that, or particular horror characters. So, to go in a different approach, I thought that this month I would discuss with you lot the filmography of Rob Zombie. So, Rob Zombie. I've got it on Wikipedia here on my laptop. So, born as Robert Barlen or something Cummings, born on the 12th of January 1965. So, in the 90s, he was like the lead vocals in a heavy metal band called White Zombie. Yes, White Zombie. So, yeah, that's all I know from his music career. And, well, we're here to talk about his films. So, in 2000, he decided to call it a day from being a rock musician to and decided to go into films. And he made his first film in 2000 called House of a Thousand Corpses. And he wrote and directed the film. It starred Sid Haig and Bill Moseley and his wife Sherry Moon Zombie. Now, this film was made in 2000, but didn't come out until 2003, so it was like on the shelf for about 3 years before it had a theatrical release in 2003. That film was about a psycho like redneck family who killed people and that, and kept them within their house and everything. It was like Captain Spaulding, the main, like the most iconic character in that film. He was like a psycho clown that worked at a gas station and sold chicken and that. Basically, he looked like the Ronald McDonald equivalent of KFC if they'd have had a clown mascot. So, yes, it was considered quite violent and graphic. A lot of insane stuff in that film. And then about 2 years later, so from 2003, Rob Zombie gave us a new film every other year throughout the noughties from 2003. In 2005, he made a sequel to House of a Thousand Corpses titled The Devil's Rejects, which I think is one of those rare movie sequels that do better than the original, because I did actually think that The Devil's Rejects was more better, had more like of a sort of a story to it. It follows on from House of a Thousand Corpses. House of a Thousand Corpses starts in October 30th, 1977, and this takes off from House of a Thousand Corpses, so it's still set in the 70s. So the family go on the run, still with Sid Haig as Captain Spaulding and that. Of course, his screen time in all his clown makeup wasn't long, because in halfway through the film he sort of washed it all off, and they were like, fugitives on the run. I did like this one, though. It was probably a little bit more violent than the first one. A lot of swearing. In fact, that's the thing with Rob Zombie's films. There is a gargantuous amount of foul-mouthed swearing. It's like we can't get through the first minute of a film without someone using like the word fuck or fucking or something. So yes, that's The Devil's Rejects. In 2007, Rob Zombie rebooted a horror classic. Now he once said remakes about them being unnecessary if the original's good. He said, why fix? I can't actually remember what he said, but he didn't see the point in remakes. Yet he remakes Halloween. Now, this one he had John Carpenter's blessing. John Carpenter approved of this and had his full support. And Rob Zombie remade Halloween, and to be honest, it wasn't too bad. It was 2 hours long, and he sort of made it like two films. Like the first hour of the film, sort of a prequel, and then the second hour of the film, a redo of the original. Now, in the first hour of his version of Halloween, he spent the first hour exploring the backstory of Michael Myers, following him as a kid. And in this take, he's obviously brought up in a rough family and sort of has a reason to go nuts, I guess. But in John Carpenter's original, that bit was unknown, which sort of gave a bit of mystery to the character of Michael Myers. But in Rob Zombie's take, I'm not saying that, well, yeah, he kind of ruined the mystery a bit, but I kind of liked the whole little origin story there. The film, it starred Malcolm McDowell as Dr. Sam Loomis, and he originally wanted Sid Haig to play that role, but he couldn't do a good enough English accent, so yeah, they got Malcolm McDowell in instead. And I'd much prefer Donald Pleasance. Malcolm McDowell was a kind of an alright Dr. Loomis. Definitely was more caring for Michael than Donald Pleasance were. Also, here's a fun fact that I learnt from Hello Horror. When she was going around the location of the first Halloween, she said that the role of Dr. Loomis was first offered to Christopher Lee, but he turned it down as he didn't think it was that good a role, but he later regretted that. But yeah, that's the thing with some actors, they can turn down a role that could change their lives and yeah, they won't accept it or whatever. So yes, the remake, the last hour, the next hour of the remake, like the second act, is like a redo of the original Halloween. Only Michael's not driving in a truck. That's another thing Rob Zombie found a bit of an error with on the original Halloween. How come Michael can learn to drive when he's been locked away for 15 years? Rob Zombie worked his way around that and sort of, my assumption, and Rob Zombie, I guess he walked back to Haddonfield. In this one, it also had Danielle Harris in it as Laurie's friend, Annie. Also, who else did it have in it? The remake. I just got it up on the computer here. Yeah, it starred Malcolm McDowell. He had his wife in it, Sherry Moon Zombie, as Michael's mother, Debbie Myers. And Tyler Mane played the role of Michael in this one. And then we had, Danielle Harris. And who played Laurie? Scout Taylor Compton. And We also had Brad Brad Dourif. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. You know, he's known for playing Chucky in the Child's Play films. So, basically, they made a few alterations with the original. Instead of Annie dying, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, instead of Annie dying in this remake, she survives, but Linda, Laurie's friend who gets gets strangled after sex, she still gets killed. But yeah, he does make it. His version of Halloween, he adds his own take and that into it. So yes, he still has his own stuff going on in it. Moving on to 2009. So in 2009, there we go. In 2009, Rob Zombie then did the sequel to his remake of Halloween. So in this one, he sort of had some elements in it from the original Halloween 2, like following on and what have you. And then he sort of put his own creation in that into it. Following the events from 1 year after the events of his version of Halloween, we focus on Laurie. You know, she's sort of suffering from really bad PTSD from the whole experience. Also, she's living with Annie and her dad, still played by Danielle Harris, and Chucky? Yeah, Brad Dourif. And that. Malcolm McDowell returns, reprising his role as his version of Dr. Loomis, and in this Rob Zombie Halloween, I didn't really like it. I didn't. It was just... I mean, he does an okay horror films. You see, the thing with Rob Zombie is, I say he's like Marmite. You either like him or you don't. I like him, and that's why I'm doing this discussion now. But yeah, I find it watchable, but a bit odd. Like the whole thing with the white horse and everything. To me, that is just so he has an excuse to put his wife Sherry Moon in it. But in this one, Dr. Loomis, he's selling a book that he wrote in the first one, and he's become like this overnight success. All his fame's getting to him. He just turns into a total dick until like the ending, when he decides to you know, discovers that Michael's still out there and he's on the kill on that. Now, over the films and that, the look of Michael has changed. In this one, in Rob Zombie's take in Halloween, Michael wore brown overalls and he wore a similar kind of mask, only it was worn away and that because it had been under some floorboards for years. In this one, I kind of do like the hobo look of him. I mean, in this one, he's wearing a hood and a coat, and he has a long beard. He looks like a homeless Santa. He even wears the mask, even though a chunk of it is worn away and you can see his eye. I do like that look. I won't lie about that. But yeah, it's like Rob Zombie just ruined the complete mystery in Michael in that one. You know, not only that, but at the end, revealing his face, and, spoiler alert again, shouting to Dr. Loomis as he kills him, because Dr. Loomis, he comes back to try and talk Michael round, and he just shouts, "Die!" And we see his face, and he gets gunned down by the police. Laurie, she sort of inherits all the psychologicalness from Michael, from the first one being a typical teenage girl, to finding out that she is the long-lost sister of Michael. And then it pretty much ends where she sees the horse and Sherry Moon, and she grins sinisterly, and it ends there. To me, that's not Rob Zombie's best sequels to anything, but that's just my personal opinion. Um, but I think his first remake on Halloween wasn't that bad. It was okay. It was a good. It was quite a decent remake. Still in the year of 2009, he had another film out called The Haunted World of El Superbesto. The Haunted World of El Superbesto. Um, Now, that is a horror film well, it's an animated American comedy horror written directed by him, and it has the voices of Sherry Moon Zombie in it. Let's see if we can just look for it here. The the yeah, animated adult exploitation musical black comedy horror. It says here. Um, so yeah, it's well adult comedy. It's cartoon, kind of in the same animation as Ren and Stimpy. I did see this film once, and I just thought, oh, it's wacky and loony. I've only ever seen that once, and that was like 6, 7 years ago now. Maybe I should give it a rewatch. I should have done that before doing this video. But yeah, it was okay. It was direct to DVD, and yes, but it's not the worst film, I would say, compared to the next one I'm about to talk about, and that is in 2012. So 2009, he pretty much just laid low for a while, and he then wrote and directed another film, Lords of Salem. Oh no, sorry, not 2012, 2013. Got it written on here. 2013, Lords of Salem. Now this one again starred what's her name? Oh yeah, Scout Taylor Compton in this one. Now I watched this one and I just could not get into it. I tried on 2 occasions to get through this film. I finally managed to watch it all the 3rd time round, but it just wasn't my cup of tea. Sorry, but I say every filmmaker and that, every now and then they are going to make a film that's just not as good as all these others. And to me, Lords of Salem is that. Okay, so 3 years later, 2016, Rob Zombie wrote and directed 31. 31 is a violent horror film. Like I just said, written and directed by him, starring his wife as Sherry Moon Zombie in it. This time she's in a bit more of a leading role, and she's sort of the protagonist in this. Basically, in this one, it's a group of carnival workers taken on the night of Halloween, and they are forced to play this life or death game called 31 with these psycho clowns. The main clown sort of being called Doomhead, and apparently, like he says in the opening scene, he ain't no fucking clown. So, this one, Malcolm McDowell starred in it as well with Sherry Moon. This I liked. I've heard mixed reviews about it, but I did like this one personally. I did a review on my main channel before I set up this horror channel, Random TV and that. In fact, I'll leave a link for that down below if you're interested in seeing it. So yes, I know I keep saying that, so yes and that, but yeah, Rob Zombie, wrote and directed this, and it's called 31 because it takes place on Halloween, and the number 31, it's the 31st day of October when he does all this Halloween stuff and that. Now I have a theory. House of Eyes and Corpses is set around Halloween 1977. 31, it takes place in October, Halloween 1976. I have a theory. What if 31 is a prequel to House of a Thousand Corpses? Now, hear me out. What if Sherry Moon Zombie's character, because the film left with their fate ended, with their fates unknown, what if Sherry Moon Zombie's character is the same character from House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects, and she is sort of converted into a psycho bitch? That's a theory I've got, okay? It's a theory, it's not true, it's not proven true or anything, it's just a theory I've come up with. So there you have it, the filmography of Rob Zombie. Let me know down in the comments below, what's your favourite Rob Zombie film? Mine's, I've got to say, is Devil's Rejects, followed by 31 and House of a Thousand Corpses, I would say. That's my top 3. Let me know yours down in the comments below. And yeah, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and like. Don't forget to share with your friends. And hit that notification bell and subscribe to my channel so you can get notified every time a new video is uploaded. And be sure to follow me on social media, Facebook and Twitter. That's all linked down below. So, till next time, don't have nightmares.